2023 will come to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Secretary will call roll.
Commissioner Mayer,
Here.
Commissioner Mann,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy, Vice Chairperson Rice,
Here.
Chairperson Tolson.
Here. May I have a motion for approval of the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
May I have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion was made by Vice Chair Rice and a second by Commissioner Mayer. Unless there are objections, the agenda stands approved. May I have a motion for approval of the April 26, 2023 minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Second, anybody?
Second.
Fantastic. A motion was made by Commissioner Mayer and a second by Commissioner Mann. Unless there are any objections, the minutes are approved. The Secretary will read the declaration of conflict.
If any member of the Planning Commission may have a conflict of interest or any reason why that member must abstain from consideration of any matter on this agenda, he or she should so declare at this time.
Are there any declarations of conflict? Hearing none, we'll move on. This is the time allotted for public statements or comments on all items other than public hearing items. Is there anyone in the chamber wishing to be heard? No, there's none. Okay, thank you. Is there any correspondence from the Deputy Director, City Planner?
No correspondence tonight, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion for approval of the consent calendar?
Motion to approve consent calendar.
I have a first. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Motion was made by Commissioner Mann and a second by Commissioner Kennedy. Where's that? Unless there are any objections, the consent calendar stands approved. New business, we've got a couple presentations.
Yes, Chairman Tolson, members of the Planning Commission. Our first presentation is an informational presentation, update and discussion on organic waste disposal improvement, organic waste disposal requirements. Our Environmental Compliance Program Coordinator, Wes Yates, has a presentation for us tonight. Whenever you're ready.
All righty. So my name is Wes Yates. I manage the solid waste and hazardous materials programs for the city of Simi Valley. And tonight I'm giving a brief presentation regarding state mandatory recycling laws. And these are Assembly Bill 341 and 1826, as well as Senate Bill 1383. So AB 341 was enacted in 2012, and it covers facilities that generate over 4 cubic yards per week of traditional solid waste. And if you generate over 4 cubic yards per week, you have to have a recycling program. That involves your traditional papers, cans, bottles, and cardboard. Facilities that are under this can self-haul the materials, but they have to file a declaration of compliance with us to let us know that they have this program in place. There's also exemptions for lack of space for older developments that were only built out for a 3 cubic yard trash bin, for example. So Assembly Bill 1826 came in effect in 2014, and that covers facilities that generate over 2 cubic yards or more per week of solid waste. Again, facilities can self-haul, and they have to file a declaration of compliance with us. And this organic material needs to be source separated, so not commingled with the trash at any time. And would go in a separate bin, and the bin that's being supplied right now for lower quantity generators is your standard 64-gallon green organics cart. And facilities can file for an exemption with us if they certify that they do not generate any organics. So for example, a facility that they have landscaping, but the landscaper hauls it all off-site, and all their employees really don't generate any food waste, they can apply for that de minimis exemption. So here, just to kind of give an image of what we're looking at size-wise here, is your 2-yard, 3-yard, and 4-yard dumpsters. For most commercial accounts, 3 and 4 is the standard size that's supplied. So we have a little over 1,000 businesses right now that fall under that organics requirement. And we've received about 400 waiver applications at this point. So the following 3 slides are just kind of some sizing examples of trash enclosures for various service levels of bins. Obviously, the more bins that you have, the larger the enclosure is going to be, and this is kind of the guideline I go for when reviewing new projects and determining and making sure that the trash enclosure size is adequate for the service level they're going to need. Again, just a little different, lowering that organics cart count. And this is for very large, going to be your large shopping malls or multifamily developments. So that's kind of the sizing we're looking at for various bins. So if you do not know, we recently renewed our franchise agreement with Waste Management, and that took effect at the 1st this year. It involves new bundled services and rates, as well as a new small business service level where we can actually supply residential-sized carts to businesses that generate very little waste and kind of get them out of some of these rules because they don't need it. Also, any business that's going to have 2 cubic yards or more will automatically be provided an organics cart, which is what CalRecycle and the state wants us to do. And the exemption system continues and still exists, and we're still getting waiver applications. So just a quick update on what SB 1383 does. It doesn't really affect the business side too much other than this edible food recovery that we have to do now. So that covers Tier 1 and Tier 2 generators, which are your supermarkets, grocery stores over 10,000 feet, restaurants over 250 seats or 5,000 feet, large events, and schools. So it also creates this organic diversion goal from the landfill of 50% of organics by 2020 and 75% by 2025. And the goal of the edible food recovery program is to recover 20% of food that would otherwise be discarded or landfilled and serve it to those in need for free at donation and food bank centers. So this is just a little snapshot of our AB 341-1826 compliance form. We combined it for businesses just to make it easier to where they can declare for both laws at once. But how to comply, you either have to sign up for the recycling programs with Waste Management. Starting 2024, that goes away and will be provided automatically. Or self-haul your materials and, again, complete this form. So this is just a little resources slide where we have the various links to CalRecycle on these programs, as well as the recycling form, my contact information, and then Joel Harriet is a contact of Waste Management who in the local area is reaching out to businesses and right-sizing them for what they need and helping them complete the waiver process. And that completes the presentation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yates. Are there any questions for Mr. Yates? No questions. Fantastic presentation.
Thank you.
We have a second presentation.
Yes, Chairman Tolson and members of the Planning Commission. Our second information presentation tonight is an update on newly adopted planning and housing legislation from the 2022 calendar year. Our Associate Planner, Eric Chen, is going to provide a presentation for us tonight. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Chen.
Good evening, Mayor, excuse me, Good evening, Chairman Polson and members of the Planning Commission. On January 18th, 2023, the Planning Commission requested staff to provide a brief presentation regarding the latest new state laws and how it may affect the Planning Commission. Tonight, we will provide a general review of the 2022 state housing planning and zoning legislation. Staff has identified 13 new laws of notable interest to the Planning Commission. These laws were approved by the governor in 2022 that may affect statewide local agencies, including the city of Simi Valley. We will begin with accessory dwelling units. Please note that the City Council has just adopted the updated ADU ordinance this past Monday, so we are in compliance. AB 916, ADU bedroom addition, prohibits city from adopting or enforcing an ordinance requiring a public hearing as a condition of reconfiguring existing space to increase the bedroom count within an existing dwelling unit. The provisions are only applicable to a permit application for no more than 2 additional bedrooms within an existing dwelling unit. AB 2221 makes changes to the development standard applicable to ADUs. It requires permitting agency, the city, to act on an application within specified timeframe of 60 days. 2 detached ADUs may be planned for a proposed or existing multifamily residential dwelling. It allows ADUs in detached garages. It allows ADUs at 16 feet in height, including detached ADUs on any lot. Please note that the city allows 18 feet in height. And front yard setback requirements may not limit an attached or detached ADU to less than 800 square feet in size. In conjunction with AB 2221, SB 897 makes substantial changes in the development standard applicable to ADUs. The most significant changes in development standards include requirement for ADU standards to be objective, which is measurable, verifiable, understood by all parties, and involves no personal or subjective judgment by a public official. Allowable ADU heights include 18-foot tall detached ADU on a lot that is within 1/2 mile walking distance of a major transit stop, such as a Metrolink station, plus an additional 2 feet in height to align roof pitch on the ADU with the primary dwelling. Or 18-foot tall detached ADU on a lot with an existing or proposed multifamily multi-story dwelling. Or 25-foot tall attached ADU, or the height limitation that applies to the primary dwelling, whichever is lower. The city may limit the height to 2 stories. Furthermore, the city shall not deny an application for a permit to create an ADU due to the correction of non-conforming zoning conditions, building code violations, unpermitted structures that do not present a threat to public health and safety and are not affected by the construction of the ADU. It shall not require fire sprinklers be installed in the existing primary dwelling. It shall not impose parking requirements on ADUs located within 1/2 mile of the walking distance of public transit, and it shall not deny a permit for an unpermitted ADU that was constructed before January 1st, 2018. The next subject involves residential uses in commercial zones. AB 2011, the Affordable Housing and High Road Jobs Act of 2022 is intended to permit residential development on sites currently zoned and designated for commercial or retail parking uses by right, subject to the requirement to pay prevailing wages to construction workers, among other labor standards. And it does require a housing development project to include a certain percentage of unit affordable to extremely low, very low, lower, or moderate income households. This law will repeal on January 1st, 2033. SB 6, the Middle Class Housing Act of 2022, is also intended to permit residential development on sites currently zoned and designated for commercial or retail parking uses by right. Like AB 2011, it is required to pay prevailing wages, and the law repeals on January 1st, 2033. Unlike AB 2011, SB 6 requires developer to utilize a skilled and trained workforce. It does not contain any below market restriction requirements, and therefore it has fewer site exclusions than AB 2011. Furthermore, if the project meets all requirements, applicant can invoke the Housing Accountability Act, HAA, and the Housing Streamlining Act, SB 35, where an application for a multifamily housing development shall be entitled to streamlining ministerial approval process and not subject to a conditional use permit if the development satisfies the general plan, zoning, and objective design standards. The next subject involves special needs housing, such as students and unhoused individuals. AB 2295 allows housing to be developed on local educational agencies' lands by right, requiring that a qualified housing development on land owned by a local educational agency be an authorized use if the housing development complies with conditions including objective standards and affordability requirement. This law will repeal on January 1st, 2033. AB 2339 makes changes to housing element requirements regarding to where emergency shelters may be zoned, allowed as a permitted use without a conditional use or other discretionary permit. Since the city of Simi Valley is in compliance with the state housing element update deadlines, AB 2339 will be applicable to the city at the next housing element update in 2029. The next subject involves parking. SB 1067 significantly restricts parking requirements for housing development projects within 1/2 mile of public transit. Public transit is defined as a high-quality transit corridor within 15-minute headways, major transit stops such as a Metrolink station, rapid transit stop, or the intersection of multiple major bus routes with 15-minute headways. Similarly, AB 2097 prohibits a city from imposing a minimum automotive parking requirement if the development is located within 1/2 mile of public transit, if the city makes written findings of substantially negative impact within 30 days of the receipt of a complete application, then minimum parking could be authorized with conditions. AB 2097 extends beyond residential developments to include commercial and other developments. The next subject involves density bonus law. AB 2334 provides AB 2334 provides technical clarity on how density bonus is calculated using floor area ratio in mixed-use zone. It specifies that if the density under the zoning ordinance is inconsistent with the density under the general plan or specific plan, the greater shall prevail. It also awards building height increase if the project is located within a very low vehicle travel area, including the Ventura County region. It would prohibit maximum controls on density if the project is located in a designated county and within a very low vehicle travel area, including Ventura County region. And it would further prohibit any vehicle parking standards if a development is for a project at 100% affordable for lower income households. The next subject involves development review process, specifically post-entitlement phase permits. These are non-discretionary permits and reviews, which takes place after completion of the discretionary entitlement process, such as the public hearings, and prior to construction. AB 2234 requires the city's internet website posting to include a list of information needed to approve or deny a post-entitlement phase permit. An example of a complete approved application, an example of a complete set of post-entitlement phase permits for at least 5 types of housing development projects in the jurisdiction, and making these items available online by January 1st of 2024. It would also establish time limits, including determination of application completeness within 15 business days of submittal, approval or denial within 30 business days subsequent to application deemed complete for projects of 25 or fewer units, and approval or denial within 60 business days subsequent to the application deemed complete for projects of more than 25 units. The final subject involves the update of some general plan elements. SB 932 requires updating the circulation element to include principles of the Federal Highway Administration Safety System approach, and to develop the implement bicycle plans, pedestrian plans, and traffic calming plans. And lastly, SB 1425, review and update the open space plan by 2026, and every time the city updates its housing element, to include plans and an action program that address access to open space for all residents, correlated with the general plan environmental justice policies, climate resilience, and other co-benefits of open space, correlated with the general plan safety element, and conservation opportunities, repair damage ecosystem, and restore habitats. And this concludes the presentation. Staff's available for questions.
Any fantastic presentation. There's a lot to digest there. I think we all have copies of the slides there. Any questions for staff?
I got a few. Accessory dwelling unit ADU SB 897 shall not require fire sprinklers be installed on the existing primary dwelling. Is there a condition that the ADUs to have sprinklers? And if so, what size ADU has sprinklers?
I
Sorry.
do not have information for that.
Okay. Same one, SB 897, shall not impose parking requirements on ADUs located within half mile of walking distance of public transit. Public transit, is that just defined as a bus route? Is it, so as long as you're within half a mile of any bus route?
It'll be bus stop.
Okay, bus stop or bus route? Because do buses only stop at stops, or will they stop midpoint?
Well, the way it's written, it states public transit distance, walking distance of public transit, which means it should be like a bus stop.
Got it. Thank you. Okay, somebody else can go for a minute.
Next, anybody? Commissioner Mayer.
On AB 2011, housing development projects shall include a certain percentage of units affordable to extremely low, et cetera. Do you know what the percentage is?
No, we do not.
Okay, thank you.
We can provide that information to you.
Anybody else?
Okay, back to me.
Commissioner Mann.
Under parking, SB 1067, what is a 15-minute headway? Public transit is defined as a high-quality transit corridor with 15-minute headways.
So that would mean that for every 15 minutes, there will be a bus at the stop.
Kind of makes sense now that you say it. Thank you.
City doesn't have 15-minute headways, so the only qualifying location is the Metrolink. So Eric did provide you the map showing that radius from the Metrolink station. That's the area where parking requirements go away for a lot of projects.
Okay. Density bonus law, AB 2334, awards building height increase if the project is located within a very low vehicle travel area. Does CME have any very low vehicle travel areas?
The entire Ventura County is qualified.
Oh, entire Ventura County. Okay, obviously somebody's never driven in traffic out here. That's it for me. Thank you very much, Mr. Chen.
Anybody else? Perfect. Thank you very much. Moving forward, does staff have anything else to report?
Yes, Chairman Tolson, Commissioners, please refer to your mailboxes tonight. We provided information on some mandatory training that each Commissioner and city employee must complete in the next month. And if you haven't heard, last month, State Department of Housing and Community Development adopted, or I should say certified, the city's housing element. So we do have a certified housing element, which is on the books.
Fantastic. Do any commissioners have anything to report? Mobile Home Rent Mediation Board.
No additional items tonight.
Okay. So this concludes the meeting of June 7th. The next scheduled meeting will be June 21st, 2023. This meeting is adjourned.